college football on ABC, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
The Duke campus in Durham, home to the national champions in both basketball and men's lacrosse, and today hosting the defending national champions of college football, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Not only is Mark Ingram back in the lineup at running back, but also is their defensive stalwart Marcel Darius. And for more on that, here's Jen Brown.
Well, like you just said, Beth, a big story for today's game is the return of Alabama's starting defensive end, Marcel Darius, who is coming off a 2-game suspension for violating NCAA rules and having improper contact with a financial advisor. Now, Alabama coaches told us that the team seems more confident when Darius is on the field. Now, Saban praised Darius's attitude and his work ethic leading up to today's games. Now, we have to remember this is the first time we have seen him this season since the BCS National Championship game, where he was named defensive MVP. So, Beth, I bet we're going to be expecting some big things from this Alabama starter today.
I think number one, Ray, will be the pass rush. They're really looking forward to improving that with Darius back. Temperature at kickoff, 82 degrees, 42% humidity, and a slight breeze here inside the bowl at Wallace Wade Stadium. Coach David Cutcliffe in his 3rd season, the Birmingham native who started out as a graduate assistant on Bear Bryant's teams at Alabama, and now here at Duke trying to resurrect the Blue Devils program. Will Snyderwine will kick it away. Jones and Richardson are the deep backs. And it's headed in the direction of Julio Jones inside the 5. Out across the 20, has some blocks, scoops across the 40-yard line. Good field position for Alabama to start out with 37 yards on the return. And speaking of the return, Mark Ingram, number 22, back out there in crimson and white.
Yeah, and all Alabama fans are glad to see that. And Mark Ingram is pretty happy about it himself, as this team has done pretty well without him. Trent Richardson has filled in admirably. But when you get your top gun back in the lineup, that's a special thing.
Had knee surgery on August 31st on that left knee, missed the first 2 games. And he is the lone setback behind Greg McElroy. And a whistle before we even get a snap. And Ray, it'll be interesting to see just how many different looks that Alabama will present today. They've talked about using a variety of weapons.
Well, they're one of the
Please reset the game clock to 14:50. 1450.
It's a 2-second discrepancy on the game clock. Got to get that right. Every second counts in college football. But you're right, Beth. This Alabama offense is one of the most multiple offenses I've ever seen. Every series they come out in a different look.
Ingram will get the first touch, gets around the edge and breaks into the secondary across midfield, still on his feet down the sideline, and finally bumped out inside the 15. And the first touch of the year is a beauty for Ingram.
Yeah, that's what they expect when Mark Ingram gets his hands on the football. Just a little bounce out play. And a nice block actually by Barrett Jones, number 75, coming around. And see, he actually was able to stay in bounds despite the hit coming on him from Matt Daniels, and then gets knocked out. But a big play, a big run to start things out for Mark Ingram.
48 yards for Ingram. Back out there behind McElroy. 1st and 10 from the 12. This time we'll try the left side. Inside the 10-yard line to the 8, wrapped up by Lee Butler. The 5th-year senior from Southlake, Texas, Greg McElroy, back out there. He had a nice weekend against Penn State, 16 of 24 with a couple of touchdowns.
McElroy has really improved his game, in particular throughout the offseason, and just his decision-making and how quick he is able to recognize things that happen on the defensive side of the ball. I also think he's gifted in terms of his movement in the pocket. He just has a good feel back there.
Hanks and Jones both to the right side. McElroy to the air, into the end zone, and caught for the touchdown. Darius Hanks, the junior from Norcross, Georgia, with his first tally of the season, 9 yards on the strike from McElroy.
Simple little corner route, really, and Hanks is working on Russ Cockrell, and he's just going to run a little corner route, a little 7 route, flag route, whatever you want to call it. He's just going to press the defender up the field, break to the corner, wait for the throw, and it was right there for McElroy.
Jeremy Shelley, the extra point is good. Not even 2 minutes into this first half, and highlighted by the 48-yard run from Mark Ingram.
Here's your matchup.
Setting it up.
And there, right there is going to be the route. Beth, he's just going to press it upfield, get on the outside shoulder, and then break away. And Cockrell doesn't have a chance. And that ball was actually beat up a little bit before Hanks was able to bring it in, but he stayed with it. And Bama strikes quickly, a 3-play drive for the touchdown.
A minute 19 before Hanks catches the tip ball for the score. 3 plays, they go 60 yards.
And how about the boost that Mark Ingram gives him right off the bat? Taking it was just a pistol offensive look, just a zone play to the outside to the right. He takes it, bounces it outside, shows you the speed and the explosion as he picks up 43 yards to start the ball game.
Oh, we've seen some tremendous depth, Ray, in the first couple of weeks from Alabama, but nothing feels quite like that confidence of having all the pieces together again with Ingram and Darius returning.
Yeah, I've been in that situation, and when you know that you've been playing well without your big guy coming in, and then he comes in, that gives you that much more confidence.
Kate Foster, the true freshman. They're all new specialists for Alabama this year. And the kick is away to Juwan Thompson. And Thompson gets it out across the 30, tripped up at the 33-yard line by the Alabama special teams. And there's Marcel Darius getting set to trot out onto the field for the first time this year.
This is another impact type player, Beth, that they have done well without, and it's given a lot of younger guys opportunities to show things on that defensive line. But Darius is a game changer. His ability to rush the quarterback is really unparalleled from that defensive tackle, that inside position.
And the big question for this Duke offense, will they give Renfrey enough time to go to the air and work with the killer V's of Vernon and Varner? Incomplete on the first pass attempt, looking for Austin Kelly. There's Sean Renfrey, the sophomore out of Scottsdale, Arizona, making just the 3rd start of his young career.
And we talked to Coach Cutcliffe about the recruiting of him, and he said he kind of snuck him by and got him before a lot of other teams showed some interest. Some showed it late, but Duke went after him right away. And Coach Cutcliffe, he knows quarterbacks. He knows what he was looking for.
Kelly is the motion man. Drops it off to Scott coming out of the backfield. He squirts out across the 35-yard line. Clock continues to run after a 5-yard pickup. Offensively for the Duke Blue Devils, Desmond Scott looking to improve the running game this year, but all the action is in the air with Varner and Vernon. Varner's all ACC. Vernon, the most receiving yards in FBS for the first 2 weeks. And Brian Morgan, the senior from Hoover, Alabama, will be looking across the line at Josh Chapman, his former high school teammate. And at nose tackle for Alabama. Renfrey again to the air, and this time Scott unable to hang on. He heard some footsteps from Mark Barron coming up from his safety spot.
That's just excellent coverage in the secondary by Alabama. There was nobody downfield, even though there were 5 guys out in the route. Nowhere to go with it for Renfrey. Tries to dump it off to Scott, but wasn't real accurate with that one, and it's 3 and out for this Blue Devil offense. Not how they wanted to start things.
Alex King will kick it away. Jones is the deep man at his own 20. The snap of the boot is away. Jones hit immediately as he makes the catch, and a flag flies as Jones is taken down at the 20. Hit by Tony Foster.
I think Jones signaled for a fair catch. That's what they're discussing. Sometimes it's ambiguous whether or not they do signal.
Kick catch interference on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, the rule is you have to
Timeout.
give them room to catch the football. And it's kind of a nebulous thing. Can you know, you have to make that determination. Do they give it to him or not? And in the judgment of the official, it was not given to Julio Jones to make that catch.
Back here at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. Top-ranked Alabama with the 7-0 lead on Duke. They scored on their first possession in just 1:19. Mark Ingram back out there in the pistol behind McElroy on first down. Incomplete intended for Ingram, the junior out of Flint, Michigan, who set the Alabama single-season rushing record a year ago with 1,658 yards, 17 touchdowns on the ground. Julio Jones is on the Biletnikoff watch list, and we may see run some Wildcat at times. And that offensive line, offensive coordinator Jim McElwain says center William Vlahos may be the best offensive player they've got.
Praise there. Got some good ones.
Trent Richardson now offset in the backfield. And the quick out to Julio Jones trying to work on the defender, Rubacumba. And he's got first down yardage. Walt Canny knocks him out of bounds after a pickup of 12. Defensively for Duke, Hatcher is in the middle, the most experienced guy up front. We'll see them in 3-4, but also the 4-3 today. The linebacking core led by senior Damian Thornton. And Banks plays that devil position, that linebacker hybrid, and in the secondary, Matt Daniels is Duke's leading tackler. He'll have to be a stalwart for them. They gave up 500 yards and 54 points to Wake Forest last Saturday. On 1st and 10, McElroy flushed out of the pocket, and he will keep it and be thrown for the loss. Austin Gamble, the sophomore from Weston, Florida, the first guy there.
Great coverage down the field by Duke's defensive secondary. There was nobody open, nowhere to go with it. The offensive line did a nice job of covering things, but watch this coverage down the field. You get a nice hit on it there, and then you've got defenders just over the top of everything, nowhere to throw. Nice little zone look from the Blue Devils. Nowhere to go with it for McElroy.
Second down after losing the yard. Another quick hitter to Jones, able to shake one defender, stays on his feet. Jones still going down the sideline, and did he step out of bounds? They're pointing back to the side judge, and now the arms go up. Touchdown, Julio Jones, 51 yards. As Bama scores on its first two possessions.
Just a one-man screen out here. Cockrell misses the tackle. Jones just disposes of him. And here he is doing the tightrope act down the sideline. Looked to me like he did step out somewhere around the 17-yard line or so.
Alabama hustles out to try and get the extra point up, but nope, the whistle blows. And Ray, they will review it.
And rightly so, as Matt Austin, our referee today, is going to get on the headset and take a look at that. And you could pretty much clearly see he stepped out of bounds. Watch right here. We'll take a look at it. Right there. He is out of bounds, no doubt. Right about the 12, I think it is. 11 and a half to 12.
17.
Is it 17? Let's see where. Yeah, it is 17. I was right the first time. I'll go with my instincts here.
Quite the effort, though, by Jones. The second time that Saban and company, Jim McElwain, have isolated him one-on-one with the corner.
Yeah, and it's just that, an isolation situation. That was a one-man screen against two defenders. And so they basically said, we're going to block one for you, Julio. You're going to have to take care of the other one. And he did by breaking that tackle attempt from Russ Cockrell. And that was a problem with the Duke defense last week, is missed tackles. In fact, that's been their bugaboo in the first 2 weeks, just not making sure sound tackles. In fact, they went so far as to practice live this week. Coach Cutcliffe said that's something that they had to sacrifice, the possibility of getting guys hurt in order to get better.
Replay shows the receiver stepped out of bounds at the 16-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 16-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 11:29.
Nice job by the officials to get it right.
Review reverses the call on the field. And Cutcliffe urging the defense to get a bit more stout. They've been talking a lot this week about pride, and they don't like the fact that they have been giving up so much yardage through the first 2 weeks of the season.
And a lot of that does come back to their tackling, because they get guys in position, they just don't finish those plays.
McElroy changing things up at the line. Will Get the play to Trent Richardson standing behind him. Dial and Mays to the right. Richardson will run to the left. Gang tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Chris Hazelton, Damian Thornton amongst the first to arrive. A loss of 2 on the play.
And Thornton shot inside on a basically a slant move from his outside linebacker position. Got up on the line and slants inside. Watch him. He's going to show up from the outside right in there. He gets through unblocked, and he makes the first hit. And after that, the gates open up. Hatcher and company finish it off.
2nd and 12. McElroy play action looking for Jones deep across the middle. And he catches it for the touchdown. 18 yards on the strike. McElroy to Jones. His 3rd catch of the afternoon. Second time they've picked on Ross Cockrell.
And that's going to be a tough matchup for Ross Cockrell throughout the day because Julio Jones is just superior physically, and he showed it, and he got the touchdown that he didn't get earlier. He came back and got it.
Shelley with another extra point, 14-0, the Crimson Tide. A couple through the air, this one to Julio Jones.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here. AT&T, rethink possible. And Ally Bank. Let us show you how banking should be at allybank.com.
Spectacular day here in Durham, North Carolina, and a terrific start for Alabama. Julio Jones, 3 catches for 62 yards on that last drive. In fact, he accounted for all of the offense, including the touchdown from 18 yards out from Greg McElroy. They've scored the first 2 times they've touched the ball. For Duke, it was 3 and out on their first possession. Cade Foster sends it away. Kareem Lune on the return, and Patrick stopped shy of the 25. Tonight on Saturday Night Football, the Texas Longhorns face a tough road test in Lubbock against undefeated Texas Tech in the Dr. Pepper Rivalry Series game. And Brian Kelly's Notre Dame Fighting Irish take their first road trip of the year and head up to Michigan State to battle the Spartans. It's Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC or ESPN2 tonight at 8 Eastern.
I have the clicker going on that, back and forth. A couple of good ones.
He's had a terrific running game with a couple of youngsters and a big loss. Marcel Darius, welcome back to the Crimson Tide defense as he throws down Donovan Varner.
The get off is what really makes this play for Darius. And here he is right here, and watch him just get off the ball and throw people out of the way. And then bam, there he is in the backfield right now to make the tackle for a loss. Pretty impressive.
Loss of 4 on the play. Across the middle, and the catch is made at the 26 by Varner, the junior out of Miami. He and Vernon actually high school teammates down at Gulliver Prep. Varner with over 1,000 yards receiving last year, the first time that's happened at Duke in 2 decades. 3rd and 8 for Sean Renfrey. 5 wideouts to choose from, and it's dropped across the middle. It would have been well short of the first down anyways. Barron on the coverage of Austin Kelly. Another 3 and done for the Duke offense.
And they almost ran into the umpire, Wilbur Hackett. He had to dodge to get out of the way, and we all know they've moved that umpire in the NFL brand of football, and still kind of use him as almost an extra defender and try and use him as a rub or a pick. And that one didn't work out too well. And Renfrey has not thrown the ball yet down the field. I'm surprised by that.
Jones is back to receive at the 30. He'll have an opportunity. Spins away from a defender. He's got a wall of blockers in front of him. Jones across midfield. Still on his feet to the 30, but a flag down. way back on the near side of the field. 44 yards on the punt return, but will it stand up?
Well, Jones had a picket fence set up for him along that
During the
right
return,
sideline.
block in the back, 21 to the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's Drake Kirkpatrick who gets the clip. I mean, there it is right there. You can see a little push in the back, and that's just a little too much. He hit Jordan Bias, or excuse me, Jordan Bias. Looks a little worse for the wear on that. It's a little warm and hot out there. Not as humid yesterday. It was brutal here. Thank goodness the cold front moved in.
He's been busy already with 3 catches, a couple of punt returns. And he catches breath over there on the sideline. Mark Ingram back out there. The lone setback behind McElroy. Ingram will get the carry. Huge hole through the left side, and Ingram on his way down the sideline. Caught and hauled down at the 26. Matt Daniels saves the touchdown for Duke. He had a 48-yard run earlier, and now 50 yards on the carry for Mark Ingram.
That was one of them truck holes. Watch the size of this hole that Mark Ingram goes through. Unbelievable. That's just a great job up front. Chance Warmack did an outstanding job of getting a chip on the nose and then coming up to the next level and taking out a linebacker, and that just opened things up for Ingram.
Alongside Carpenter and Bleos on that left side, and Mark Ingram in his season debut already over 100 yards here in the first quarter. McElroy drops it off to Trent Richardson. A couple of stutter steps will get him inside the 20. We're seeing time and again, Ray, it takes 3 or 4 tacklers to bring down the Bama backs.
And I saw that on film watching this game in my preparation, and Trent Richardson, the first guy, never gets him down. I mean, it's just amazing. And of course, Mark Ingram is the starter ahead of Richardson, so he's even that much better. It's tough trying to tackle this Tide team.
Marquise Mays now lining up in the gun. Actually, it's Richardson taking the direct snap. Down to the 14-yard line.
Wildcat.
Richardson, the co-SEC Offensive Player of the Week last week. A career-high 207 all-purpose yards against Penn State.
Yeah, ran for 144 on 22 carries, and that's just another way to get the ball into the hands of an explosive player, that Wildcat that we've seen now for a couple of years. That's been the rage in college football, and it's so hard to stop because you have an extra blocker, because you don't have that quarterback position. You just hand the ball off.
Picks up 9 yards to get the first down. McElroy back in there. He'll give to Richardson. He is stuffed for a loss. Back out at the 18-yard line. Kenny Ananicki, the sophomore from Ohio, the first guy there.
Ananicki does a nice job, and this defensive line is slanting. Here's Ananicki, and watch the movement by this whole line. They're all slanting and moving and trying to replace people. And there's Ananicki showing up and never got touched. And that's what, you know, this defense, we talked to Marion Hobby, the defensive coordinator. He said that's one of the things we're going to try to do is get a lot of movement up front and break some guys free, and it's worked a couple times.
Ingram offset with McElroy, 2nd and 13. To the air, Mays coming underneath, inside the 5, diving for the end zone. And the ball pops out as he makes contact with the ground at the 1-yard line. 16 yards on the pickup, 1st and goal, Tide.
And let's see if he was down. Definitely the ball, his backside was down before the ball came out, and the ground cannot cause a fumble, so that ball's going to be Alabama's possession. But passes down the middle, that's what McElroy really likes to do, and he's hit a couple big ones already today.
The previous play is under further review.
Well, the officials deciding that it's worthy of another look.
Well, he's got the ball, and the hip goes down. You see the ground force the ball to come out. That's going to be a catch, but not a fumble. You See Rubacumba coming down there and trying to strip the ball out, but that ball stays in possession of Mays, the receiver, until he is down right there. Got possession. Pretty easy one there.
And they're quickly back
After
out.
review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
You mentioned Marion Hobby, the defensive coordinator for the Blue Devils, for the first time this week left the field and is up in the booth to get a better view of the defense. Can't like what he's seeing so far, as Alabama's been unstoppable.
Yeah, and we asked him about, was that his decision or not, or did Coach Cutcliffe come? He said, oh yeah, Coach mentioned that. And he said, yeah, you know what, Coach, I was thinking about that myself.
First and goal, McElroy. The give is to Ingram, diving for the goal line and in. Touchdown, Bama.
He's still riding. And I think he's going to get a flag for a little headbutt at the end of that thing. It's like he went after Abraham Koma with the headbutt. And Walt Canty in there as well in that mix.
We have a touchdown following the play. Dead ball, personal foul, 22 offense. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Well, the penalty against Ingram, but it comes after his first touchdown of the year, a one-yard scamper.
Yeah, there it is, the headbutt. I don't know if Koma said anything to him to elicit that, but you can't do that.
Shelley splits the uprights. 3 possessions, 3 scoring drives, all under 3 minutes and 6 seconds. This time it's on the ground to Ingram, 21-0 Tide. Back here at Wallace Wade Stadium, Alabama 3 for 3 on their possessions and a 21-0 lead. And now here's our Chick-fil-A drive recap, culminating with the Ingram 1-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, and this is about Mark Ingram right here. Here's the initial run. What a huge hole that was. Give that one to the offensive line, and Mark Ingram finishes it off with this touchdown. Ingram right now, welcome back, Mark. 4 carries, 102 yards, and a touchdown thus far here in the first quarter.
Not bad for his first time back since the knee surgery on August 31st, forcing him to miss the first couple of games. His penalty, though, will force Alabama to kick off from its own 15 after the headbutt. And that's good news for Desmond Scott, who catches at his 30 and gets out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Let's check in right now with Robert Flores.
Thanks. I'll be here all afternoon, keeping you up to date on games across the nation, starting with this Taco Bell studio update. To Seattle, where Washington was down 14-0 to number 8 Nebraska. Jake Locker, however, goes in from 7 yards out. Taylor Martinez has thrown for a touchdown and also rushed for one for number 8 Nebraska, who leads 14-7. Back to you, Beth.
Thank you, Robert. 3 and done on the first 2 possessions for Duke. Renfree with the short fake, and now going deep, and it's intercepted. Dre Kirkpatrick with the catch and back out to midfield with it. Kirkpatrick's first pick. That is the 5th interception of the season for the Alabama Crimson Tide defense.
Well, Duke fakes the quick screen on this. They're going to run the inside quick screen, and it's a quick fake right there. You see Vernon coming in for the ball, and now they go deep, intending it to go to Trezvant, and it's just overthrown. And Renfree, we wanted him to go deep. He went deep, but he threw that thing up for grabs, and when you do that more often than not, it's going to come back the other way.
21 yards on the return for Kirkpatrick, and that sets up the Alabama offense in Duke territory at the 48. And Mark Ingram lining up in the slot. The empty set for Alabama, and yet another look for the Crimson Tide. And the throw going deep for Hanks. Diving catch inside the 20-yard line. Darius Hanks hauls it in for the big gainer. 31 yards on the pass play.
That's a heck of a throw from McElroy. Here he is right here, and it's just going to be a go route down the field. And Hanks is looking out over his inside shoulder, and watch him find the football, adjust his course, and then dive to make the catch. That's good stuff.
McElroy stepping up into the pocket. Might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. We still have 5.5 minutes to go here in the first. An impressive offensive start for Alabama.
Yeah, and it's not taking them long. I mean, look at it. You got 3, 6, 6, and each one of those result in a touchdown for the Crimson Tide, who are rolling here in the first quarter.
Greg McElroy with a couple of passing TDs. Mark Ingram with his first rushing touchdown of the season. McElroy 7 of 8 so far for $130. Ingram, nice cutback. Touchdown, Alabama. Ingram from 17 yards out, his second score of the day. And a huge first quarter for Ingram in his season debut.
That was an amazing cut that he made. He set up Walt Canty from about 7 yards away with sticking the foot in the ground, cutting it back, and just breezing into the end zone.
Shelley again is true with the extra point. Mark Ingram, 5 carries, 119 yards, and a sweet cutback right here for his second touchdown of the day. Wisconsin, Iowa, and then making their way across towards Penn State. All kinds of zany fun with the Sports Nation crew. A lot of crimson on hand here today at Wallace Wade Stadium. Of course, a coach that has ties to both of these programs. And a running catch made by Kareem Rooney to the 29-yard line. Let's go down to the field now and Jen Brown.
Obviously, Ingram has had a great, very impressive showing so far with 2 touchdowns. Now, wanting to find out what it took for him to get back into the game. Coach Saban said that he wanted to see Mark Ingram before, Mark Ingram be Mark Ingram before he let him play. Now, Mark was definitely chomping at the bit to get back on the field last game, but he had confidence in the doctors and the coaches in deciding when he was going to play. Now, he didn't practice last week. He had full practice this week, and obviously that's been paying off because he's been doing a pretty good job here tonight.
Yeah, I'd say he's ready, Jen.
Couple of rushing touchdowns, including scampers of 48 and 50 yards, and Josh Sneed on the carry. Their most productive run of the day out across the 35. Sneed, a true freshman from Smithfield, North Carolina. They really like the potential of their young running backs, and things can only get better, Ray, after they struggled offensively running the ball last year.
Yeah, and I like the decision to run the football there on first down and try to get back into a physical type game and wake your guys up, and that's what they're doing right now, running the football to try and get something going in that regard and be physical.
First down of the day, Dante Hightower and Phelan Jones over there defensively, but Sneed will move the chains. First chance we've had to talk about the Alabama defense. Of course, Marcel Darius back from that 2-game suspension has had an impact already. Dante Hightower, the man in the middle this year. And the defensive backs, the most tenured of which is second-year starter Mark Barron. We've already seen Kirkpatrick with an interception and a big burst from Sneed, and the true freshman inside the 35-yard line, gashing the Tide defense for 27.
This is exactly what Coach Cutcliffe needed to do and is doing, and his boys are responding right now. You're going to see 2 big uns pull around right here to lead the way for Sneed. He gets the edge on this Alabama defense, turns it into a foot race there, and now with 3 consecutive runs, Duke has finally awakened.
Scott is offset next to Renfrey. He'll make the catch out of the backfield. Scott diving over DeQuan Menzie. 7 more on first down.
Pretty good defensive play by DeQuan Menzie, getting off of that block as Donovan Varner was trying to keep him from the play, and it didn't work. Menzie was able to spin off of that block and make a hit.
Giving their quarterback Renfrey a chance to settle down after throwing the interception on the last possession. Incomplete. Barron hard charging to deny Cooper Helfett.
This is an interesting play that you get out of the pistol. It's really a bootleg. You very seldom see the quarterback turn his back to the defense, but that's what's going to happen right here. You see that he turns his back, comes back around, and it's a naked bootleg. No blockers out in front of him, but the Bama defense was ready and waiting for it.
3rd and 3. Motion man is Varner. Pass across the middle, caught for the first down. Kelly's got it inside the 10-yard line.
And then the motion defined the coverage for Sean Renfrey. He knew he was in man-to-man because when he had the motion, a defender came across. You see the motion man right here, and the defender is coming across. That leaves it one-on-one up top, and there's nobody in that alley where the slant is thrown. Bam, right there. That's good recognition by Renfrey, and then good execution.
18 yards on the pickup. Duke threatening to score the first touchdown of the year against this Bama D. Renfrey to the end zone, and it's almost intercepted. Jones had his man blanketed in the end zone.
Boy, and Connor Varner was wide open, and Renfrey missed him. Varner was in the slot up top, and he was wide open. Nobody from Bama saw him, and Renfrey got lucky because that should have been an interception by Phelan Jones. Good job turning into defense there by Cooper Helfett.
Coach calls Helfett a playmaker. He might have made a huge one right there for Duke. 2nd and goal. Movement on the left side of the line.
Yeah, the tight end over there got an early start.
Prior to the snap, false start, 22 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That's Brandon King. And Brett Huffman, their normal starting tight end, was injured this week in that practice. The intensity that we talked about that Duke had in practice this week. They went 1s against 1s in the running game, and then 1s against 2s in the team periods to try and get better as a football team. That's something Cutcliffe said he was willing to do because they needed it. They had to get better.
Duke is 10 for 10 on the season in the red zone. 7 of those touchdowns. And more pre-snap movement again.
Trying to determine if Alabama going into the neutral zone caused the false start.
Dead ball, offside, 4 defense. Correction, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Mark Barron will give him the 5 yards back. Kirby Smart talked to us this week about the importance of Alabama playing well in the red zone against a Duke offense that has scored every time they've been in there this year.
And one thing Duke likes to do in this area is bring in their true freshman quarterback, Brandon Connett, and then have him run the football. We haven't seen him in it yet, but we expect to see that today.
5 wides for Renfrey. Goes underneath. The catch is made by Vernon. Hit immediately at the 6-yard line. And able to fall inside the 5 to the 4.
Third down conversions in the red zone are what Coach Cutcliffe told us is the most important thing. The red zone is one thing, but third down conversions in the red zone, that's what makes a true difference.
The pump fake looking to the corner and overthrows his man, Austin Kelly. And they cannot convert on that 3rd down there. And the field goal unit comes on.
I just don't like that decision by Renfrey to throw it away so soon. He had no pressure on him. He could have kept moving and maybe even ran the football. And we talked to Coach Cutcliffe. He says he wants his quarterback to throw it away, keep it out of harm's way, but not in that situation. I think you keep buying time and let your guys work to get open in that end zone.
22-yard attempt from Snyder Wine, who's 4 of 5 on the season. 3 points on the board for Duke. 28-3, 1:47 to go in the first quarter. And Coach Cutcliffe right now talking with his young quarterback, the first guy that he personally recruited when he took the job, and a 6'5" sophomore with a ton of potential out of Notre Dame Prep in Scottsdale, Arizona.
I like Sean Renfree, and I think he's going to be a real good one, but he has come up against it today and hasn't shown what I saw on film, and that's the accuracy. He's not been as accurate today, or with his decision making. He hasn't been on top of it yet. That was a good drive, though, for Duke when they made the decision to come out and run the football and be physical and try to get back into the game that way. I think that was a good decision, and they got points out of it. We'll see if their defense can maybe put a stop on Alabama.
They have not done that yet. Alabama has scored on each of its first 4 possessions. Their longest drive took just 3 minutes and 6 seconds. A couple of touchdown passes from Greg McElroy, a couple of touchdown runs from Mark Ingram. So far, a nice start for the Tide with the return of Ingram offensively and Marcel Darius defensively. Mays and Hanks are the deep backs awaiting the kick from Snyderwine. Trent Richardson electing to take it out of the end zone. Tripped up at the 18-yard line. Let's go down to the field and Jen Brown.
Thanks. Another storyline coming in today's game was the addition of seats here at Wallace Wade Stadium. And normally they hold 33,941 people. They added 3,900 by adding seats on the concourse and in the end zone. Now that is the first time since the 80s that they've added seats. Now we have to note that they were offered several stadiums from NFL teams, and in some of them in the 7-figure offers, but Duke decided to stay here. So you got to assume that they wanted to try to have some form of a home team, home team advantage.
Except that there's more red, I think, in these stands, Jen, than there is blue. It's pretty liberally sprinkled with crimson. Excuse me, I should say crimson.
They are indeed well represented. A little delay to Richardson. He scampers out across the 25. Another good pickup on first down. Give him 9 on the carry for the sophomore from Pensacola.
And DJ Fluker, the right tackle, took his man and drove him 10 yards down the field. We're getting some mismatches up front for this Alabama offensive line.
Tide will show a little hurry up on this possession. It's Richardson again able to elude the first guy that tries to tackle him, and he's got the first down.
Yeah, you see that a lot on a little short yardage situation. You try to get the defense on their heels and maybe get the personnel. You don't allow the defense to change the personnel to a short yardage look or things along those lines. You see that from a lot of teams. They'll increase the tempo on those short yardage plays.
I think, too, we're seeing the maturation of Greg McElroy, now the 5th-year senior, allowing them to do so much more in terms of different looks offensively. We've seen 4 or 5 sets already here in the first quarter.
Getting the Rhodes Scholar candidate.
Takes his time to find Preston Dial, the senior out of Mobile, Alabama. Had some time thanks to that offensive line. Our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV to find out how you can get 5 months free. Good look at Wallace Wade Stadium, named after the legendary coach at both Duke and at Alabama, where he won 3 national championships for the Crimson Tide back in the 20s and 30s.
Pretty well for Duke, too.
McElroy goes to the air again. The deep completion to Earl Alexander into Duke territory. And another first down for the Crimson Tide. 28 yards on the pickup. Rubacumba knocked him out of bounds.
This just shows you the confidence that Greg McElroy has in his receivers, because Rubacumba was right there, had great position. McElroy threw it anyway, threw it up high, and he lets his receiver Alexander go up and make a play for him.
That'll take care of the first quarter of play. A productive one for Nick Saban's team. And Mark Ingram over 100 yards rushing. McElroy with a couple of TD passes, and they are rolling along 28-3 over Duke. 15 minutes in the books. 28-3 Alabama leading Duke. Pick your poison. Mark Ingram over 100 yards rushing and a couple of touchdowns. Julio Jones with a touchdown catch, and Greg McElroy starting out 9 for 10 today.
And a pair of TDs. It's been pretty impressive offensive display from the Tide.
The bubble to Jones. Squirts around the edge. Got a nice block from Marquise Mays. This their 5th possession. They've scored on the 4 previous. And Jones continues to have a busy day.
Yeah, Julio Jones is a mismatch pretty much, regardless of who he's going against. 6'4", 222 pounds, extremely fast. But he's looked a couple times today like he's a little shooken up. I don't know, but he keeps going in there and making plays. So I guess he can look however he wants as long as he continues to do that.
That's his 4th catch. He is the most tenured of the starters, by the way. His 30th start today as Richardson gets the carry.
Stopped once again this time by number 6, Ross Cockrell.
Trent was held up by Ross Cockrell. Richardson, who did a terrific job through the first couple of weeks, over 200 yards rushing through their first 2 wins, and now Mark Ingram back. What a 1-2 combo. They combined for over 2,400 yards and 25 rushing touchdowns last year.
Pretty much interchangeable parts there. Very good parts.
Play action. McElroy with the pump. Has time to look for a second guy, and the diving interception is made by Lee Butler.
Great play by Butler, but a bad play by McElroy. The first time we've seen him make a mistake. When he pumped that football, he had the receiver open. Watch him pump it right here. That's when he should have thrown it. By the time he reloaded, it allowed Butler to make recognition and then get across there and make the play. Here it is from the blimp. Pretty good look from up there. You saw how open he was, and then Butler able to close on the pump by McElroy, and that allowed him to close and make the play.
The first interception of McElroy in his last 150 passes, just the 6th INT of Greg's career, and Butler gets the turnover for Duke. And now the Blue Devil offense, who put up 3 points on its last drive, back to work. Scott is the setback. Not much happening against Chavis Williams, the senior from Dora, Alabama.
Yeah, Chavis just came in and blew the thing up from the left side. And there was nobody there to block him on the line of scrimmage, and by the time he got into the backfield, it was too late. He was a freight train coming straight down the tracks.
Loss of 2. Quickly to Scott, cutting back to the inside, and stumbles out close to the 15.
It's a really nice cut by Desmond Scott, who has really improved over last year. I saw this Duke team last year, and the running game wasn't much to talk about, but in watching them on film, Desmond Scott has done a really nice job. Over 200 yards already on the season, averaging 99.5 yards per game.
3rd and short for the Blue Devils, and a timeout. Nick Saban wants to talk to the Alabama defense. We'll take a timeout with him. 12:52 to go in the first half. Duke trying to get something going against the Crimson Tide D. The lead over Duke, 28-3. Perhaps the reason for the timeout is the change at quarterback right here, Ray.
Right, and it's a 3rd and short, a running situation, and that's what Brandon Connett does best. He runs the football.
Varner, the motion man. And a flag at the snap.
Like Duke moved a little early, I think. Well, it might have been the nose tackle for Alabama, Chapman, going off sides. It's one of those deals where both sides moved. They have to determine who caused which to do what.
Dead ball, offside, 99 defense. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That might have been Duke's Hoover High Buccaneer Brian Morgan drawing up Chapman offside, also a Hoover Buccaneer.
Yeah, there he is. And you can see it, and people want, all right, he's the nose guard. He's right on the football. You move and the ball moves, but he's the easiest guy to get to jump because he can hear the quarterback's inflection better than anyone else.
So Kennett departs and Renfrey comes back on at quarterback. Josh Sneed with the carry. Let's send it to the studio right now. Robert Flores.
Here's New York Life studio update. Nebraska's Roy Hello Jr. in from 8 yards out, 21-14, number 8 Nebraska. Hello, is it me you're looking for? Urban Meyer 5-0 all time as Florida leads Tennessee 7-3.
Thank you very much, Robert. Again on the naked boot. And the pass caught by Kelly for a short gain. But it'll be enough for the first down. Drake Kirkpatrick with the tackle.
Nice scheme here by Coach Cutcliffe's offense. They brought Kelly in motion from the far side, the bottom of the screen, and then they snuck him behind the line of scrimmage to run that route into the flat.
Duke, the no huddle on 1st and 10. Give this to Sneed. Stuck at the line of scrimmage. Marcel Darius in the pile along with Robert Lester.
Darius, an impact type player. You know, we've talked about him a little bit. He's already had one huge tackle for a loss. And what they being Alabama were so excited about is he gets such good pressure from that defensive tackle position in terms of his pass rush.
I love the line from Nick Saban when they talked about Darius's return. He said it's full metal jacket. Marcel's ready to play. With 5 wides, Renfrey has a man open at the 40, but the drop and the dropsies have already hurt Duke, particularly last week in their loss to Wake Forest. That's their 2nd today. And Jimmy Johnson is racing for an historic 5th straight championship, while 4-time NASCAR titleist Jeff Gordon and regular season points leader Kevin Harvick look to make a little history of their own. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at New Hampshire on ESPN tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Coverage begins at noon with NASCAR Countdown on ESPN2.
I'm told you can't win the chase in that first race, but you can lose it.
Something to watch for up in Loudon. The pass to Helfett. Incomplete.
Helfett, who dropped that previous pass, wasn't able to bring that one in. He's a little frustrated with himself, and that's tough because they should still be on the field. The Duke offense, if they make the catch on each of those things, they're going to move the chains, and those are the mistakes that they can't afford to happen.
Duke unable to do anything with the turnover, will have to boot it away. Marquise Mays standing at his own 26. Mays catches it on the run, sheds one tackler.
I think he's running through a maze.
Marquise out to the 44. 1st and 10 tied. These two schools don't have a whole lot of history against one another, but they did honor the Duke Sugar Bowl winning team that beat Alabama back on January 1st of 1945 in a game that sports writer Grantland Rice called one of the greatest thrillers of all time. The 29-26 victory for the Whiz Kids as George Clark scored a late touchdown.
Old Grantland Rice, he could weave a yarn, couldn't he?
He could spin a tale. One of the great sports writers of all time. The team coached, by the way, by Eddie Cameron, with Cameron Indoor Stadium fame. Aflac! And that leads us to our Aflac trivia question. Who was the coach at Duke when they defeated Alabama in the 1945 Sugar Bowl?
If I was listening, I think you just gave me the answer. That's good, thank you.
Oops. We'll see who was paying attention on that one. 28-3 Crimson Tide. They're back out there, and Greg McElroy, for the first time in a long time, trying to bounce back from an interception. The give to Mark Ingram, who scoots inside the 40 to the 36. Mark now 6 carries for 127 yards here in the first half.
And you saw McElroy have to really reach to make that handoff, and this is one of the few instances I've seen now of where maybe you could tell there's a little rust in this offense with Ingram not getting all those reps for the last couple of weeks and being out. That was almost a fumbled exchange between those two.
The first Heisman Trophy winning running back to also win a national championship since touchdown Tony Dorsett in 1976 with the Pitt Panthers.
He was Dorsett back then, wasn't he?
I think you're right, as a freshman. And then he spoke up. The burst from Ingram, still on his feet. Tripped up at the 15.
It's amazing to me how people just bounce off of Mark Ingram. I mean, they had an opportunity to make the tackle. I believe it's Matt Daniels that comes up and he just hits him and he bounces off like right here, like bam, and then he's gone. It's like Ingram didn't even feel it and just kept rolling.
21 on that play to go along with earlier carries of 48 and 50 yards for Mark Ingram.
He's a special player, no question. You can see the impact that he makes.
Richardson now the offset back. Nice block to give McElroy time, and the pass incomplete through the hands of Preston Dial. But Richardson, watch him take out the defender bearing down on McElroy.
Great job of picking up this blitz. The Blue Devils brought 2 off the left side of the offense. Watch, they're going to be coming in from over here. And watch how Ingram does, Richardson comes across, bam, right there, and picks up the blitzer, giving McElroy time. Should have had a touchdown pass there. That one should be caught, not caught, dropped, unfortunately. But not a bad play. A great pickup by Richardson.
He's in the pistol now behind McElroy. Greg to the air again, looking for Dial, wide open this time. Touchdown, Preston Dial. His second of the season, this one from 15 yards out.
Give him another chance, right? He dropped the previous one.
McElroy's 3rd touchdown of the day.
Dialed him up 6 points. And this Alabama offense been unstoppable here in the first half.
Denied on just 1 possession so far in the ball game, and the Tide rolling 35-3. Their first road trip so far so good. 9 minutes to go here in the first half. And Dial hauls in McElroy's 3rd touchdown pass of the day.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? And Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper.
Still just the 3 national championship banners for Coach K. They won't raise last year's title banner until the season starts. Practice in about a month's time for the Blue Devils.
Coach K probably needs a little time off after the deal he just got through.
World Championships coming back home to the United States.
And the gold medal.
We got champions all around campus here with the basketball team and the lacrosse team at Duke, and of course the Crimson Tide bringing the football team to town. After the return, let's go down to the field and Jen Brown.
Just a little interesting side note, number 90, the place kicker for Alabama, Jeremy Shelley, is actually from Raleigh, North Carolina, which is about 15 miles from Duke. Now, I talked to Shelley before the game. I asked him how many of his family and friends were going to be here today. You know what he said? He said he's got over 100 people here. So, you guys, I think he's probably accounting for a lot of these red shirts out here in the stadium right now.
Him and everybody else, a lot of Tide faithful have followed the team up here to Durham.
From nearby Broughton High School. Winfrey in the offense back out there. The give is to Desmond Scott, also a local out of Hillside High School in Durham. Scoots out close to midfield. Daquan Menzie with the tackle.
Great block by Connor Vernon, the wide receiver. pinning the cornerback inside, allowing the room on the edge for Scott to get outside.
The coaching staff says Scott more decisive, much more physical this year. And on the busted play, Renfrey's going to get busted. Lassoed behind the line of scrimmage.
That was the old Three Stooges play. Turn a circle and duck.
Damian Square, the sophomore out of Houston, Texas, was the first guy to get to him.
Sometimes when you try to hurry things up, you cause confusion for yourself.
2nd and 11. Renfrey with the completion. Now to the 48th, and Donovan Varner, his second catch of the day. Well, earlier we asked you the Aflac trivia question, who was the coach at Duke when they beat Alabama in the 1945 Sugar Bowl?
And I was listening. I heard you give the answer before the question. So, but do I remember it? That's the question. It's somebody, Cameron, some Cameron fella.
Eddie Cameron.
Eddie Cameron, thank you.
There you go.
Edmund.
Not only did a terrific job of replacing Wallace Wade, who was serving with the U.S. during World War II, and a nice snag made by Varner. That'll move the chains. 18 yards on the pickup to the 32-yard line, and look at Darius fuming at himself. He missed it.
He had a sack, but he left his feet. That's the #1 rule as a pass rusher. Never leave your feet. And Darius did, and he jumps past the sack. Watch him come in here from the left side. Jumped in the air. And when you leave your feet, you just can't move anywhere. And a nice play by Renfrey to step up inside of that.
Renfrey gives to Scott. Stays on his feet. And Darius, again, had a shot at him, the first guy there, but couldn't make the play. And now Marcel stays down on the ground. As we flash back to Edmund Cameron, the head football coach at Duke, from 42 to 45.
Check it out. Both teams wearing color. You know, now it's one team in color and the other team in white. Got the red and blue uniforms from back in the day. And as you mentioned before we showed that little vignette there, Beth, Marcel Darius got hit on that last play trying to make the tackle and stayed down.
His first action of the year after sitting out the 2-game suspension.
Look at right there, his right leg. He got cut block on that, and that's what he reaches for as he goes down. Hopefully it's not that, something else.
Junior from Birmingham, Alabama, comes to his feet.
Legs look fine. Probably the wind knocked out of the big fella, and that's a lot of wind.
Talk about respect, though, for Darius and what he's been able to accomplish. A preseason All-American, even though this is only his 4th career start today. Of course, gained national prominence, winning the MVP of the BCS National Championship. First, he knocked out Colt McCoy, the Texas quarterback, and then he scored a touchdown on an interception. Picking off the shovel pass. Renfrey across the middle, incomplete, looking for Helfet again. Yeah, the defender, DeMarcus Milner, draped all over him. Let's take you back to the title tilt against the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, and you see this big play the big fella makes, ball bouncing around. He comes up with it. Now watch him just get rid of people. I mean, that's pretty nifty and pretty strong for the big man. Rolls into the end zone for the touchdown, and he is a beast.
Third down for Duke. Renfrey. Not going to get enough on the pass play. Donovan Varner.
Looks like Coach Cutcliffe is going to send in the field goal team. I'm a little surprised. I guess he wants to come away with some points after they move the ball a little bit.
Snyder Wine is on to attempt it from 42 yards out. Will's long this year, a 46-yarder. And the guy with the best field goal percentage in Duke history is true. 35-6. Blue Devils get 3 more. Marcel Darius hoping to get back into the game for Bama. Thank you very much, Robert. A 35-6 lead for Alabama. A couple of field goals for Duke. 6:01 to go here in the second quarter. And for Alabama, Mark Ingram, a successful return so far. 7 carries, 148 yards. And for that guy, Greg McElroy, 12 of 15, 199 yards, and tying a career high with 3 touchdown passes here in the first half.
He might be done. Got the headset on. We might end up seeing A.J. McCarron, the redshirt freshman backup for Alabama, who has been in games already this year. They brought him in early in the game, their opener against San Jose State, and right away he threw a touchdown pass to Julio Jones. So he's gotten him some vital playing time already.
I think the most intriguing stat might be the fact that we'd love to tell you about Alabama's third down conversions, but we can't. They haven't had a third down yet today. The offense has been that efficient. The bobble from Richardson. And still able to make a play. Richardson on his feet across the 40-yard line. Trent Richardson on the go, and he is gone. Touchdown, Alabama.
And Beth, that happens so often when you bobble that kick. What happens is the coverage team keeps coming down the field. They overrun it. And that's exactly what happened in this one. And once Richardson got control of the football and broke past that front line, he's got to beat the kicker, and that's it. I mean, he beat the ball up a little bit, but bam, right there, once he gets past that first line, now he beats the kicker, and it's a foot race. And Richardson shows you some speed, bringing it out the other end all the way to the house.
96 yards on the return. 42-6, Alabama on top.
They should put this in, the old double dribble kick return. But you see that so often and it's simply the math of the thing. The coverage team overruns it. They spend that time covering the kick while the return man is not handling the ball. And then when he does get the football and he breaks through that first wave, it's out the other end.
National champions are looking strong. And speaking of national champions, our Jen Brown has found one here at Duke. Jen?
That's right, Coach. Last Sunday, you led the U.S. team to a FIBA National World Championship, which hasn't been done since '94. But 2 days ago, you announced that you're going to be stepping down as the head coach after the 2012 Olympics. How hard of a decision was that for you?
No, it's an easy decision because, that'll be 8 years doing it, and someone else should have that opportunity. But we thought to continue on for this 4 years would give the program even a better foundation. Jerry Colangelo has done a great job of recruiting players and recruiting coaches.
Now you've got multiple NCAA titles, Olympic gold, and now this FIBA World Championship. How did they compare?
Well, they're all different and they're all great. This one is right up there with any of them because we had a young group. I mean, a really young group of guys, and they were terrific. And Durant was truly special, just a special guy. So, but we'd like to have another national title too. So it's nice when you're comparing championships.
Of course. Now, on the other side, on the football side here, Coach Saban and the Alabama team is favored right now to repeat as a BCS national championship. Now, you've done this in the early 90s with Duke. How hard is it to repeat?
Well, first of all, I'm sure he's not telling his team we're going to repeat. He's probably telling his team we're going to pursue our own, because there's always new people. Even though there's Alabama or Duke, in 91, 92, you got to pursue. You can't defend. And but watching them today, they're pretty impressive, because I know our campus was abuzz with excitement, and they've knocked a lot of the excitement right out of us.
And speaking of excitement and an impressive team, your Blue Devils, do we have any predictions for a potential repeat for your guys this season?
See, I knew you were going to get to that. Not predictions, but we'll be very good. You have to be lucky and good, and to stay away from injury and hopefully be at your best at the end of the year. But with Singler and Smith coming back, and the Plumleys, and we have a really good freshman guard, Kyrie Irving, we'll be in the hunt. And if we're in the hunt, then we got a chance.
Now, this summer you had Coach Saban on your radio show, and then he said that he's reading your recent book, Gold Standard. What's it like having a coach like Saban be so, such an admirer of your success?
Well, I'm not sure he's a good guy, and we had a great show, but I sent him a free book, so he probably read 2 pages of it, and I'm waiting for him to send me his books.
Well, I think he's taken some excerpts out of it tonight because those guys are doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're great, and it's an honor to have Alabama here, and our guys will learn from it. That, Coach Cutcliffe's done a great job, and this will help brand our football program. We can be a good football program here.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much. Good luck to the Blue Devils this season. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. A 19-yard pickup on the pass play to Donovan Varner for the first down as Duke rolls into Alabama territory.
I could listen to Coach K talk all day long. He just says all the right things, and you can't argue with the success that he's had.
Nick Saban told us this week when he reads Coach K's book and talks about Coach K, it's about sustained excellence. As the deep ball is batted around at the 8-yard line, incomplete, intended for Vernon. Of course, Krzyzewski with the 4 national titles. Saban has 2 of them, 1 at Alabama, 1 at LSU.
And I got to believe he's got the inside track at another one this year. It's awful early in the season. And I've had the opportunity, Beth, to see Boise State, the number 3 team in the country, and I also saw Ohio State, the number 2 team in the country. And watching Alabama, I can see why they're ranked number 1. They're awful good.
Scott can't get to the edge, hauled down by Damian Square. Well, they've played well at all facets. The defense continuing to hold opponents without a touchdown this year. They've scored through the air with McElroy's 3 touchdown passes. They've scored on the ground. Ingram has rushed for 2. And the special teams coming through with the Trent Richardson 96-yard kick return. As we see Marcel Darius is back out there defensively after sustaining an injury earlier in this second quarter. Renfrey on 3rd and long, gets away from Barron. And has a wide open Austin Kelly diving for the first down marker, and it looks like he got just enough to move him. 3rd catch for Kelly.
Zone blitz from Alabama on this particular play. They brought the safety Barron, dropped a couple of linemen out, and a good escape move by Renfrey. He should have been sacked by all rights, but he showed you his strength at 6'5", 220 pounds. Watch him just avoid this sack and then stay alive and still get it outside to complete the pass and get the first down.
Renfrey gives to Sneed. He gets a burst into the secondary. Inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. 8 more from Sneed. And ABC's new drama series, Detroit 187, premieres on Tuesday. Michael Imperioli and James McDaniel star. When it's your hometown, everything is personal. The premiere Tuesday at 10 Eastern, 9 Central on ABC. Brandon Connett has come in at quarterback on 2nd and short. He's going to keep it and run straight up the middle and bearing his way inside the 25 on a nice push from the O-line. The true freshman from Corona, California.
And that's the strength of Connett. He's been in the game and hasn't thrown a pass yet. He doesn't need to because he runs the football so well. It's really all that is a wildcat formation when he's in the ball game, and they treat him as that primary runner, and he's able to move the chains on that one and show some power pushing that pile at the end.
Coach Cutcliffe really just trying to find ways to get him out on the field and get the ball in his hands. They love his potential. Renfrey back out there. Jay Hollingsworth is the guy in the pistol behind him.
Prior to the snap, false start, 68 offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's Brian Moore.
Coming up on the Cooper Tires halftime report, John Saunders and Jesse Palmer in our New York studio with all the latest scores and highlights. A particular note for Alabama fans, how did Arkansas fare today? Well, Ryan Mallett had a big day, including a clutch TD pass in the final minute of play against Georgia. Arkansas up next for the Crimson Tide. Starting today, 5 of the next 7 for Bama will be on the road.
And amazingly, most of those teams have a bye week before they face Alabama. So they're at Arkansas, they host Florida, they're at South Carolina, host Mississippi, and then they go to Tennessee and then LSU. And all those teams have bye weeks before they play the Crimson Tide. They're going to be able to give them their best shot.
Stacking the deck. So does Auburn for the season finale. There's the Tigers hosting Clemson in a big ACC-SEC showdown coming up tonight at Jordan-Hare. The keeper, Connett, with the carry to the 16.
Here's that schedule we were talking about, and you got to give Alabama credit. They have one of the toughest schedules for all. You know, you look at all those top 10 teams and who do they play. It's a pretty good tough schedule here for Alabama. If they do run the table, they will have earned that top ranking.
Of course, Tide fans have probably already penciled in at the bottom the SEC championship game and the BCS championship game.
Put them on the schedule.
3rd and 3. Renfrey. Incomplete, another drop. And what would have been enough for first down yardage, Hightower plants Varner on his back as Donovan was trying to reach for the loose ball.
Yeah, there's no doubt Donovan Varner knew Hightower was waiting for him. And that'll give you a pretty good idea.
The first time out of the half.
On why he dropped that ball.
Duke calls the timeout, perhaps thinking about going for it on 4th down when we come back. Back here at Duke, Alabama rolling it up here in the first half, 42-6, and now the Blue Devil fans on their feet for a 4th down play from the 16-yard line of the Crimson Tide, a defense that has yet to give up a touchdown this year. Renfrey caught. And a first down for the Blue Devils. Cooper Helfett hauls it in.
This is a smart play call because they know Mark Barron, the safety, has coverage on the tight end. Here's Barron right here, and he's off. So if you get that tight end inside, running away from that man-to-man coverage, you've got something, a quick throw, and get enough for the first down. Good execution and a nice play call.
Timeout call by Duke. They can pick up another first down inside the 1-yard line as they try and get some points on the board here before the end of the half. Alabama today scoring on its first 4 possessions, and all the stars have come out offensively for them, and defensively it's a unit that has not allowed a touchdown. Arizona will be tested tonight hosting Iowa, and Baylor going to be tough to keep that TCU offense out of the end zone today.
I can guarantee you in that huddle, those guys reminded each other, hey, we don't want to give up a touchdown. We want to keep that going as long as possible.
Marcel Darius lining up on the left side. Renfrey fires, caught inside the 5, and muscling into the end zone is Austin Kelly for the Duke touchdown. The first given up by the Alabama defense this season. Sean Renfrey with his 7th touchdown pass of the season.
And a great effort by Austin Kelly to make that catch and then fight his way. Broke a tackle attempt from Hightower and wormed his way into the end zone.
PAT is good. 11 yards from Renfrey to Kelly for the score.
He's going to run an underneath route. Right here you see him clear underneath Helfett, who runs the coverage off. It's man-to-man coverage, and Hightower is covering his man. He comes across and has a shot at making the play. Kirkpatrick has the main coverage, but look at this play by Kelly to keep his balance and then keep rolling and fight his way into the end zone.
Hightower was the guy that had a shot at him at the 3-yard line. But Kelly with the nice spin move into the end zone. And as we heard Mike Krzyzewski tell Jen Brown earlier, the opportunity now for Duke to gain a little confidence, to learn some valuable lessons that can help them the rest of the season. They have not had a winning season since 1994. That's also the last time the Blue Devils went to a bowl game. And Coach Cutcliffe trying to change the culture, trying to get them back to the winning ways of Steve Spurrier, actually, when they won the ACC title back in 1989.
And if anybody can do it, I think it's Coach Cutcliffe. He's done an outstanding job, I think, in already setting the foundation for turning this program around in terms of making this football team more physical. He's really put a lot of emphasis in the strength and conditioning and the recruiting. He said everything they do revolves around recruiting, and he's made an impact in that regard.
Trent Richardson returned the last kick 96 yards, and he will not get the opportunity on this one. The ball is loose at the Alabama 37-yard line.
Going to get kick-catch interference again. And should have, actually, Alabama should have signaled for a fair catch.
They apparently did not. The Blue Devils say it's their football. Tony Foster says he's the guy that got it. An Alabama player injured on the play.
Can't quite see who that is. It almost looks like an 89. That would be Michael Williams, the tight end.
Interference on the kicking team. Kicking team didn't give the receiving team a chance to catch the ball. It's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, you have to give a guy a chance to catch a ball that's in the air, and that was Michael Williams who went for the catch. Here he is right over there on the left side, and you see he was hit immediately by Zach Green covering that kick, and you got to give that guy room to make a catch because he's defenseless. You hear that term a lot. You don't want to hit a defenseless player. Well, you can. It's against the rules, and the timing of that Zach Green got there too quickly.
Williams, the starting tight end, banged up on the play, and a switch at quarterback for Alabama. A.J. McCarron, the redshirt freshman out of Mobile, is on, replacing McElroy, who tied a career high with 3 touchdown passes here in the first half. And McCarron to the air. Richardson had it and lost it.
Richardson just runs a wheel route straight out of the backfield down the sideline. He's going to draw coverage, and there's no coverage really. Here he is, and watch, he's just going to go right down the sidelines, and he's going to run right past the coverage. They bring the corner inside with the post route, and the linebacker doesn't adjust, doesn't turn, and it was wide open, and Richardson will have nightmares about that one.
Three receivers for McCarron out of the gun. Across the middle and caught by Dial inside the 30. He's already got a touchdown catch today. 21 yards on the pickup. Third catch for Preston.
Alabama.
Timeout, Alabama. Their second time out of the half. Be a 30-second timeout.
You might think they're trying to run this thing up here, but what they're doing is getting A.J. McCarron an opportunity to run the 2-minute offense. They've got a young quarterback who hasn't had any experience in that regard in a live full-go football game, so they're giving him that opportunity right now to run the 2-minute offense.
Reminder that coming up on the Cooper Tires halftime report, John Saunders and Jesse Palmer in our New York studio with all the scores and highlights from the early games, including a shootout for Michigan against UMass.
Yeah, I was having thoughts of the Appalachian State upset from years back with the Michigan Wolverines, but they hung on, took care of the business.
Denard Robinson had a couple of passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. Ohio State rolled today behind Terrell Pryor, and Geno Smith had 4 touchdown passes for West Virginia as they beat Maryland today. Now with 11 seconds to go in the half, McCarron back to work. Look into the end zone. Incomplete, overthrowing Brad Smelly. 5 seconds to go, and the field goal kicker, Cade Foster, trots out.
That's great experience for A.J. McCarron, the redshirt freshman, who, you know, gets an opportunity to run that 2-minute offense, and if they can convert this field goal, be successful and get points out of it.
Foster's 2 for 3. This would be his season long from 44 yards away.
Pretty buff for a kicker.
And he's got the leg and the accuracy. 3 more on the board for Alabama.
He hooked that thing. Got it in, though.
An impressive first half of play for the Crimson Tide, even though they allowed their first touchdown of the season. The stars were shining. McElroy with 3 touchdown passes. Ingram with a couple of TD runs. Richardson with the long kick return, and down to the field with Jen Smith.
Coach, Ingram's got 7 for 148 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 21 yards a carry. How much can we see from him in the second half?
Well, you know, Mark needs to play a little bit. We'll decide at halftime what we do with our players, but I think he's probably played enough. I think the biggest concern that we have right now is, you know, we're not playing very well on defense. We're not playing very well on third down, and we're not creating enough plays to get off the field. And they've moved the ball the last 2 or 3 times they've had it. So, you know, we're not dominating the game like we need to on defense.
So allowing that first touchdown on defense, what are you going to say to the defense in there about that?
We don't care about giving up a touchdown. We just want to play to a standard. We're not playing to a standard, you know, of being a good football team.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Jen Brown. 45-13, Alabama with the lead over Duke at the half here at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham. We'll be joining John Saunders and Jesse Palmer for our Cooper Tires halftime report right after this. Welcome back to college football on ABC, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wallace Wade Stadium at Duke. And the Crimson Tide laying it on the Blue Devils. They're 45 points, the most scored in a half for Alabama since 1973. They scored the first 4 times they had the ball today, and that really got things rolling for the Tide, who also welcome back Mark Ingram and Marcel Darius. I'm Beth Mowens along with Ray Bentley. Jen Brown also with us, and welcome back to Mark Ingram for Crimson Tide fans.
Yeah, how about that? 7 carries, 148 yards, a couple of touchdowns. He's averaging over 21 yards per carry, and he looked like he was 100% in that first half. Here he busts one off the left side, a nice hole there. Now he's working it to the right side. You see the moves, and you see the strength that he has of just knocking tacklers, would-be tacklers off of him. Here's his first touchdown, and then this, I think, was the crowning achievement of his day, that little cut that he made to get that touchdown. And Mark Ingram, here's the news flash, folks. He's back, and he's looking pretty good.
The Heisman Trophy winner, a couple of rushing touchdowns. McElroy threw for 3 TDs, one of those to Julio Jones, and Trent Richardson also spectacular in a 96-yard kick return. They tagged on the late field goal after the drive from backup quarterback A.J. McCarron got them into scoring position. So pretty solid all around offensively. We did hear Nick Saban tell Jen Brown at the end of that half that he was a little disappointed that they weren't playing up to their standards defensively, giving up the touchdown in that second quarter.
Yeah, and they gave up some significant yardage to Duke. Duke was able to move the ball down the field. They got in position, kicked a couple of field goals, and then they finished that half off with the touchdown. And so that's something that Coach Saban talked to us about initially when we talked to him this week on the phone. He said, hey, we're not necessarily playing against Duke. We're playing to try to reach a certain standard. And he feels they didn't quite get that on defense.
And the D will have an opportunity to get right back out there as Snead slammed at the 19-yard line. That's where Duke will take over. Now let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, which will include a little bit of everybody here for the Alabama offense. 383 total yards.
Yeah, that's just an amazing number for one half of work. And look at the yards per play. They're averaging over a first down every play. That's pretty good.
Did not have a third down in the first half of play, and now Sean Renfrey and company back out there for Duke. Could see him gaining his confidence as that first half progressed. And they were able to buy a little time for him with a pretty solid running game Desmond Scott gets the carry right there.
And Duke, after a dismal start, started to establish some things on the offensive side of the ball. And it all started with trying to get physical and running the football. They came out in that drive. They were already down 21-0, and they hammered the football at Alabama and then drove down and got their first points of the game. And that was significant for them, I think.
Scott will stay in there behind Renfrey. Quick toss to Donovan Varner, swallowed up by Dre Kirkpatrick. The first-year starter at corner. They had only 2 guys returning from last year's defensive unit.
And this is a great read and hit. And I tell you what, they kind of left the receiver out to dry on that one. Nobody blocks Kirkpatrick, and obviously you saw the result of that. He came up and brought the wood with him.
3rd and long. Hightower picked up on the blitz. Pass incomplete, looking for Scott out of the backfield. And quickly the punting unit will be back out there for the Blue Devils.
Not how Duke wanted to start this ball game, or excuse me, this half anyway. It's exactly how they started the ball game. 3rd down, drop the swing pass, bring out the punt team.
Alex King will boot it away. Marquise Mays at his own 44-yard line. A booming blast over Mays' head and taking a nice Duke bounce all the way down to the 16-yard line. 63 yards on the punt from Alex King. And the boomer will set the Tide back. Let's send it down to the sideline now, and Jen Brown.
Coach Cutcliffe said coming out of the half that the next 30 minutes are going to be the most important 30 minutes. It's where he's really going to find out what kind of a ball club he has. He says that he's got a large deficit, and that's definitely difficult as a football program to come back from, but that it needs to start now. But these next 30 minutes, that's what's going to be important.
Thank you, Jen. The starters are back out there offensively. McElroy out of the gun. And the quick toss incomplete, intended for Mays. Let's go to the studio in New York now, Robert Flores.
All right, Beth, AT&T All-American Player of the Week update. Ryan Mallett, certainly a good candidate. 380 yards, 3 touchdowns as Arkansas beat Georgia 31-24. Mallett leading the game-winning touchdown drive. He has 3 straight 300-yard games to start the season. Text vote to 345-345 for a chance at a national championship.
Thank you, Robert. And that's the guy and the team that Alabama will see next weekend on the road. As Mark Ingram tried to slide away from Cromah. Ball down. Mark had a big first half, 148 yards on just 7 carries.
Yeah, and to me, he looks 100%. Watch the feet in this particular run. Look right there, the hop, the skip, and then now the spin. That's the guy that I don't think his knee is bothering him a whole heck of a lot. He's able to do about anything he wants to right now.
Injured the knee in practice August 30th. Had surgery on it August 31st. Missed out on the first 2 games for Alabama. And making his season debut, and a good one today. Julio Jones wide open. Lots of yards after the catch out to midfield for Alabama, and a first down.
Little underneath route by Julio Jones. It created a natural pick, and the defensive back had to go over the top, and that's what makes him so open. Watch him. He's just going to come down and then come underneath everything. Here's the pick right there, and Rubacumba had to go over the top. That's what opened it up. Good protection allowed McElroy to wait for that thing to develop.
Julio now over 100 yards receiving. 106 on 5 catches today. The deep ball down the middle, hauled in at the 20-yard line by Chris Underwood. His first catch of the day, and it's a good one over the shoulder.
And that's tough coverage right there. Patrick Egbo is the defensive end, and you see in this particular scheme, he's got the tight end man-to-man. And there's no way. That's just not a good matchup for a defensive lineman at 6'4", 250 to have to cover a tight end some 20, 30 yards down the field.
Terrific touch on the pass from Greg McElroy. We'll change up the play here. Just protect for Alabama. They're going to go to the air, and the turn in the end zone incomplete. Brandon Gibson turned to the inside and then had to go back out towards the pylon. Just the 5th incompletion of the day for McElroy.
Good coverage over there, too, by Johnny Williams, who has stepped in here in the second half and playing that field corner position. Did a nice job and forced McElroy to just kind of throw that thing away.
Big day for Johnny, the junior from the state of Alabama, St. Stephen's. Played on a couple of Alabama state championship teams in high school. Grew up a huge Crimson Tide fan. Second and 10. McElroy to the air again. Tipped by Williams. Got a hand on it, but there's a flag down inside the 5-yard line. The intended receiver was Darius Hanks.
Great play by Williams, but I don't know if he did a little something illegal prior to that.
Holding. Defense number 2. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I think they got the number wrong because 2 is Connor Vernon. I think this is on Johnny Williams. And he grabbed that receiver as he made that cut to the outside. He grabbed Darius Hanks. There it is. Watch right here. There's Johnny Williams. He grabs a hold right there. He's got the back of the jersey. Wasn't much, but it was enough. Anytime you see that jersey separate from the body, they're going to call that.
First and goal, Tide from the 9. The pitch to Ingram. Taken down. Good tackle on the play. Number 40, Matt Daniels, the leading tackler for this Duke team coming into today's game.
And that's why Matt Daniels is the leading tackler for the Duke Blue Devils, because he's their best tackler. He is a solid tackler. That's a good job of coming up and using the shoulder pads and driving, wrapping, and finishing it off.
Trent Richardson now out there in the backfield with McElroy. Second and goal, McElroy incomplete, overshoots Brad Smelly in the back of the end zone. Abraham Cromah was there defensively.
Pretty nice job by Cromah. This is one of the most difficult routes for a linebacker to cover, because you're going to get a little outside dip by the tight end, and then here, watch it right here. Watch this little, see that little outside look right there, and Cromah bites on it a little bit, but he's able to recover enough to force McElroy to throw that thing up a little too high, so Smelly couldn't quite get to it.
Jones to the right, Hanks to the left. Richardson behind McElroy on 3rd and goal. Off the play action. Good pressure from Duke. McElroy tucks it in inside the 5. Muscled out of bounds at the 4 by Lee Butler. Pickup of 8 on the play.
Really good coverage down the field again by Johnny Williams. He had Julio Jones, and that's who McElroy wanted to throw the football to. But Williams had him covered up, and there was nowhere to go, and McElroy had to put it down and scramble. Nick Saban not happy about it.
Saban wanted the 7. They'll go for the 3 on 4th and goal with Cade Foster. Hit a 44-yarder as time expired at the end of the first half. 21 yards on this attempt. Tough angle, but he gets it through. 48-13, Alabama gets points on its first possession of this second half. The iconic Duke Chapel here on the campus in Durham. A spectacular sunshiny day. Duke taking on Alabama. Our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV to find out how you can get 5 months free. Our DirecTV blimp high above the Duke campus, and in the upper right. There you see Wallace Wade Stadium. Plenty of crimson on hand today to witness the return of Mark Ingram and Marcel Darius. Desmond Scott taken down at his 11-yard line, and the offense will head back out. Reminder that tonight on Saturday Night Football, pretty good choice for you to make. Might have to bring the second TV into the living room for Texas, Texas Tech, and Notre Dame, Michigan State, presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC or ESPN2 tonight at 8 Eastern. First road test for the Fighting Irish, as well as for Texas quarterback Garrett Gilbert taking his show on the road as Taylor Potts in Texas Tech.
Gilbert struggling on the long ball, just hitting 20% of his deep passes beyond 15 yards. See if he can get that cleaned up against Tech.
Tough to live up to that memorable finish a couple of years ago. Graham Harrell to Michael Crabtree to the upset of Texas. Longhorns bounced back last year. They were beaten by Alabama in the BCS championship game. That was the last time we had seen Marcel Darius and Mark Ingram prior to today.
Yeah, they played a pretty good ball game there. Got that done. One thing I'm seeing here, the Duke linemen are cutting the Alabama defenders a lot, and it's starting to take a toll on some guys.
Working out of the gun, incomplete, looking for Donovan Varner, who was well covered across the middle. Plenty of lessons, though, to be learned by Sean Renfrey, who David Cutcliffe says what we like to teach is not just memorization, but we like to teach our quarterbacks to understand the game and read defenses a lot better. That's the key to them training quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's that whole first year they spend teaching them defense. And if you know a defense and you understand concepts, that makes everything else easier, you know, rather than memorize.
Oh, he took a big pop from Mark Barron on the release. Incomplete.
Another blitz from Barron at that safety position. And watch him just get through there clean and give old Renfrey a little how do you do. Those hits, they take a toll. They start to add up. And I think Renfrey saw that coming, and that's why that pass was inaccurate.
I'll get Alex King back out there. His last punt over 60 yards. Mays giving him a little more respect. He's inside his own 40. He'll get a running start to midfield. Couple of juke moves. Close to the 45. Tide will have it in Duke territory to start out. 9 yards on the return by Mays. 38 yards on the kick.
Mays running around looking for some cheese on that one. Couldn't find it. That's pretty amazing ability to change directions. The skill players, Beth, you and I were talking about this during a break, for Alabama, incredible. The numbers that they put up today and just their abilities. It's no wonder this is the #1 team in the country.
Over 150 yards rushing for Ingram. Trent Richardson has over 100 yards total offense. Julio Jones over 100 yards receiving today, as Greg McElroy has tied his career high with 3 touchdowns. And here goes Trent Richardson. Trent Richardson with the burst into the end zone. Touchdown Tide. 45 yards on the score.
He just hit the gas pedal on that one. I mean, that's all there is to it. Had a seam off to the right side. The blocking, the timing of the blocking on the second level was perfect, and that allowed Richardson to not break stride and keep that speed going, and he hit that crease and was gone.
(55-13) Alabama. 2 touchdowns today for Mark Ingram, and now 2 for Trent Richardson. 1 on the run, 1 special teams. And we'll call the run special as well. Hitting the gas pedal and taking it to the house.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by the German-engineered sport-injected 2011 Buick Regal, Taco Bell, think outside the bun, and Wrangler. For unbeatable comfort and value, you can count on Wrangler. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
Plenty of ways that they've honored Wallace Wade, the Duke coach from 1931 to 1950. 7 years prior to that, he won 3 national championships in Tuscaloosa with the Crimson Tide.
It was quite scandalous at the time that Coach Wade left Alabama and came up here to take control, to take reins of the Blue Devil football program.
He gets a lot of credit for putting Southern football on the map. His Alabama teams that went to the Rose Bowl were the first teams from the South to play in the Rose Bowl before that became the Big Ten, Pac-10 affair. And of course, that is the perch that the bust of Wallace Wade has up in Coach Cutcliffe's office, looking down on the field.
Yeah, Coach Cutcliffe found that when he came here, and he put it in his office. And then when this game came about, he moved him to a perch where he could watch the game himself. Coach Cutcliffe wanted Coach Wade to see this one.
It's been quite a spectacle. Plenty of Alabama fans here. A lot of the 40,000 or so clad in crimson. And a credit, I think, to David Cutcliffe and the administration that they kept the game here despite offers to take it elsewhere. They are trying to build their own tradition here, and they thought that it was very important to their growth as a program to attract the best teams in the country to their home turf.
Yeah, and they sacrificed a large payday to do that. There were offers to play the thing in Atlanta, Memphis, other places, and Birmingham, and they said, no, we're going to keep this one at home. And I think it was a good decision.
And very meaningful for Coach Cutcliffe, who also has ties to the Alabama program. Growing up, he said the hardest thing for him to figure out was how he was going to play for the New York Yankees and be the quarterback at Alabama when he grew up.
Right, he wanted to be either shortstop for the Yankees or the QB.
Neither of which turned out, but he's doing all right. Here's Robert Flores in New York.
Beth, Florida and Tennessee were tied at 10, but the Gators have scored 14 unanswered points, capped off by Mike Gillisley's short touchdown run. Gators up 24-10. Urban Meyer 5-0 all time against Tennessee. And look at what TCU is doing to Baylor. 35-3 at the half for the number 4 Horned Frogs.
Thank you, Robert. That Florida team, like this Alabama team, a top 10 program on the road. There's 6 of them today. Nebraska, last check, they were winning at Washington. Boise, Texas, and Iowa, all top 10 teams on the road in action later today.
To finish up that story about Coach Cutcliffe, he came from the Alabama program where he went in there and he followed Coach Bear Bryant around for his 4 years there. Took copious notes on how to handle things, and he keeps in his wallet a couple of keepsakes in regards to the history that he has. You see on the left there, that's the Auburn, Alabama ticket stub, and then the Bear Bryant.
I think that was the obituary.
Yes, the obituary that was in the paper, and the ticket stub for when Bear Bryant broke the all-time victory record. So there's definitely a huge tie from Coach Cutcliffe's heart down to Alabama.
He was a student assistant for that 73 national championship team, and an Alabama grad in 76. I did notice yesterday when we talked to him, though, the championship ring on his finger was from his days at Tennessee back in '98 with T. Martin, his quarterback pupil. Out of the backfield, Desmond Scott. He's into Alabama territory and has a first down to the 45.
Good play call here. The safety blitz came late, and that allowed Renfrey the time to dump it outside to the check down. He hit the back, and Desmond Scott was able to avoid coverage and get a nice gain into Alabama territory.
Renfrey now 16 for 33, 136 yards with a touchdown pass to Austin Kelly today. First and 10, the give is to Sneed.
Sneed is one of those true freshman recruits from, for the Blue Devils, and that's what Coach Cutcliffe really emphasized with us, Beth, was that help is on the way. He's got a nice bunch of kids, some of them that he's redshirting that he really doesn't want to, but for the sake of the program, he's going to bring those guys along together, and he really is optimistic about the future here for Duke football.
They'll take a bit of a hit next year with the offensive line, and they'll lose wide receiver Austin Kelly, but otherwise the entire offense will return. And actually the rest of the way, Ray, their schedule is looking pretty favorable once they get into the ACC. Their toughest games will be here at home. Their only road trips are to the Techs. Virginia and Georgia have struggled a bit early in the season, although Georgia Tech did get a nice win over in Chapel Hill earlier today.
Right, here's exactly what you're talking about, and they do have some of their toughest matchups coming here at Wallace Wade Stadium. Miami coming in, and Boston College, North Carolina to finish things off at the end of the year. So he's optimistic, and that's another reason why he went live in practice this week. He says, you know, there's only so many opportunities you have to get better, and they have to maximize those, because he thinks that they can be good yet this year.
Luther Davis is the injured player heading over to the Alabama bench.
Alabama showing that blitz a little bit early, and now Duke will change the play based on that look that they just saw.
Snead stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, the Blue Devil players not hiding their aspirations at all. They're talking about a winning season. A bowl is the goal. They haven't been to one in 16 years, and particularly for some of the fifth-year seniors on this team that were winless in their first year here, they are talking about the postseason. 3rd and 3 now for Duke.
Cornett come in at quarterback again.
Hollingsworth got close to the line.
And that's the offense that they run when Cornett's in at quarterback. It's that read option, and they're hoping to get the ball into his hands. He's a very good runner, and he's yet to throw it. We were hoping to see that this week. You know, we talked to everybody about it, and they kind of laughed along like you just did. But someday he'll throw the football.
His time will come. Right now, though, it's Renfrey on 4th and 1. David Cutcliffe is going to call the timeout. We'll take a break as well. A 4th down coming up for Duke when we return to Durham. 55-13 tied. Crimson Tide would love to be Arizona bound for the national championship, but some business to tend to right here on 4th and 1 for Duke. The pitch, Varner taken down behind the 1st down marker. Darrington Senimore, one of the guys that got to him.
And this is just a triple option look right here, and Cornett decides not to give the ball. I think that was his mistake right there. The read was a give read. He pulled it, and then he was forced to pitch it immediately, and there was just too many defenders around for Alabama, and they make the stop on that critical 4th down. Now, critical if you're a Duke guy who wants to convert.
Give some credit to Nico Johnson as well, helping out Senimore make the stop. Bama will take over on downs. Eddie Lacy is now into the backfield with A.J. McCarron. The blitz of an offensive appearance today for Alabama. McCarron overthrows his intended target.
Pass intended for number 7, Kenny Bell.
Looking for Kenny Bell.
On the coverage for Duke, number 16, Chris Rabacumba.
Greg McElroy today finished out with 3 touchdowns and 258 yards, although he did throw an interception to end his streak of 149 passes in a row without an INT. Really the only blemish on what otherwise has been a spectacular day offensively. They are 6 for 6 in the red zone. They have yet to punt the ball, and they did not have a 3rd down play the entire first half.
I think that equates to that standard that Coach Saban talks about. Offensively, they were really sharp early on in this ball game. I think what Coach Saban was upset about maybe was the defense letting some things happen there in the 2nd quarter.
Well, that's one of the things that we talked about this week with Coach Saban and also Kirby Smart as defensive coordinator, how much more patient they have had to be this year with a lot of newcomers on defense, but also still holding them to that high standard. They were the best scoring defense in the country last year at just 3 points a game allowed. McCarron on the move and not for long. Sacked on the play by Kelby Brown. Loss of 8.
Good job by Kelby Brown of firing off the edge when he saw McCarron rolling that way. Duke gambling on defense, had 9 guys inside the box. Look at all these guys up here. They're all blitzing. And right there you see the linebacker actually bailing out and then coming up to make the play, Kelby Brown.
First time we've called Cody Mandel's name, the true freshman. Lee Butler back at his own 28-yard line. Butler coming up to make the catch at the 37. Gets by the first wave of tacklers. Dante Hightower able to take him down at the 46. 9 yards on the return. Tonight on ESPN, starting at 7 Eastern, the college football doubleheader will get you down to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Tigers and Tigers, Clemson and 16th ranked Auburn. And then Ricky Stanzi leading the 9th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes against Nick Foles and the Arizona Wildcats. It's college football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels tonight on ESPN. Both of those games are also available online and on your phone. It's a red out in Arizona, one of the biggest games that they've had in quite some time. The Pac-10 looking to make a statement this weekend. And, Arizona averaging 46 a game, Iowa 36 points a game. Could be a shootout in the desert.
Yeah, last year Iowa won that game 27-17. And Arizona thinks they have a better chance this year. We'll see as far as what happens, but it is in Arizona's backyard, which should make a bit of a difference.
I know Alabama fans will be paying attention to that Clemson-Auburn matchup. And on the Plains, their new quarterback, 6'6", 250-pound QB Cameron Newton. And we're supposed to get a much closer look at their true freshman running back, Michael Dyer, tonight as well against Clemson, as Duke throws the incompletion.
Sean Renfree, 16 of 34 on the day. And coming into this game, he was a 71% completion rate passer. And, you know, when we talked to the coaches, they said he'd be probably more around 50% today because they wanted him to make sure he didn't try to force balls into places. And it kind of worked out just about right for him as far as what they anticipated.
A couple of those quarterbacks, he says Renfree with another drop by his receivers. But Renfree, like all great quarterbacks, have to be willing to be booed in terms of their decision making and throwing it away and being smart from time to time. But right now, like we saw last week against Wake Forest, the receivers letting them down a bit.
Yeah, the receivers need to be booed at this point. That's the 5th drop pass today for the Blue Devils, and that's what plagued them last week against Wake Forest. You know, Renfree threw 3 interceptions in that game. 2 of them were balls that hit his receivers right in the hands. They tipped them right to defenders, so they've got to do a better job of catching the football.
Alex King, another punt. Flag down before the kick. And a fair catch called by Mays. Lost the handle.
Hey, Alabama got it.
Dre Kirkpatrick, I think, was able to dive in there to save it.
See what that flag is all about.
Offside, defense 94, 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
You wonder if Coach Cutcliffe's going to go for it now and make it about a 4th and 4, or if he wants to punt this thing. You got nothing to lose going for it here, but
he does have his punter back out there, Alex King. here is the fake. And it's dropped at the 48-yard line. Brandon King was the intended receiver.
He tried to do a little throwback screen type look, and Coach Cutcliffe not happy about it. Here, the punter's going to roll to his left. They're trying to set up a throwback screen over there to the middle and the back side of the field, and King took his eyes off it. Make that the 6th drop pass of the day.
Let's send it down to the sideline now, and Jen Brown.
I can report right now that Alabama center William Vallejos will not be returning to the game with a lower leg injury. They did say, though, that he is fine and could return if they needed him to. And when we spoke with offensive coordinator Jim McElwain earlier this week, he said that, Vallejos is one of the most important people on this Alabama offense. And I also can report the defensive lineman Luther Davis is also out with an unspecified left knee injury. He's icing it right now on the sideline, and he will not be returning to the game.
Thank you very much, Jen.
Yeah, Vallejos is really the center. Coach McElwain was telling us he's not the first guy you want off the bus because he's only 6'1", 289, and not one of those pretty guys. But he says you definitely want him as the first one out there on the line.
Called him a commanding presence. Making his 17th consecutive start, and Eddie Lacy into the open field, pushed out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. The redshirt freshman.
Eddie Lacy has been pretty good this year for Alabama as well in terms of getting his production. Coming into the game, averaged 6.9 yards a carry, and he's, as part of that deep stable of running backs, he's another one who can do it.
31 yards on the carry. Lacy going to get another opportunity. Lost the football. Down on the turf inside the 5.
Lacy fumbled the ball down in this same area of the field week 1 against San Jose State and lost the ball, and now he loses another one here as Kelby Brown comes up with the fumble recovery.
Second turnover of the day for Alabama as Kelby Brown recovers the Lacy fumble. And look at how quickly the other two guys are right over there to try and pick them up, Ingram and Richardson.
Yeah, and you don't want this to become a habit. And, you get a young back and it gets in his head. And that's Daniels that came in and wrapped up Lacy and knocked the ball loose. But it almost becomes a mental thing. Once you start fumbling, that becomes your rap. That's what the book on you is, and it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's terrific leadership, though, right there from the guys in front of him on the depth chart.
No doubt. They're trying to tell him, forget about that. That ain't you.
Desmond Scott picked up 1 on the play. For Mark Ingram today in his return, just 9 carries, but he made the most of those 9 trips. 151 yards, a couple of rushing touchdowns. Just the first running back to return with the Heisman Trophy. In 31 years, Billy Sims was the last guy to do it back in 1978. He finished runner-up to Charles White the following season. Since then, Herschel Walker, Barry Sanders, and Rashaan Salam, all Heisman Trophy winning running backs, but they all left school early.
And that's a tough decision. You win that Heisman Trophy. That's the top. Where else can you go? But a lot of these guys make the right decision, stay in school, and come back. And you see the last 3 have won this thing at sophomores, and we'll see if Mark Ingram can repeat. His performance today leads me to believe that it's a possibility.
He is the 3rd Heisman winner that Duke has faced. And 3rd down, and they will come up a yard short. They also played against Doc Blanchard in 46 and then Roger Staubach in 64.
So it's been a while.
By John Fulton, number 10 for Alabama.
This is, I think, the perfect recipe for Mark Ingram to come back and make his debut for the season in a game like this. And he got 22 snaps today. In practice, he had been getting over 40 plays a day in practice throughout the week. And I think that's the perfect number for him, that 22, and then the results from it.
End of the third quarter, 55-13 Alabama. Our presentation of college football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Capacity crowd here at Duke, and they have seen Alabama put on quite a show. They scored on their first 4 possessions of the day and never looked back. 55-13 tied. Beth Bowens, Ray Brentley, Jen Brown with you today from Wallace Wade Stadium as we start the fourth quarter. Duke will punt it out of its own end zone. Mays back around midfield, and it won't get to him. Out of bounds inside Duke territory, and now let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
And this is pretty much going to be a Crimson Tide highlight package starring Mark Ingram. Look at the numbers on him: 9 for a $151, pair of TDs. McElroy hits Julio Jones, a couple of TDs for him, and Trent Richardson, that touchdown run. He also had a touchdown on a kickoff return. The big stars for Alabama got it done this afternoon.
All over 100 yards of offense today for the Tide. 45 points in the first half, the most they've scored in a half since 1973. They've racked up 539 yards of total offense with a quarter still to go.
Coach Saban, I'm sure he's going to find something to be miserable about. That's what good coaches do. And he talks about that standard, and that standard, that's a pretty high bar that they've set there with the Crimson Tide.
There's been a lot of chatter too, Ray, about on ESPN.com and on a lot of the talk shows about whether or not this might be the best offense that Coach Saban has ever had to work with through the course of his college career. He's always had some awfully good defenses.
Right. And it's a little different recipe this year with the skill players that Alabama has. And we've seen that manifest today with the numbers that Ingram, Richardson, and Jones have all put up, along with that man, McElroy, that we just saw a shot of. He played pretty solid football today as well.
At his career high with 3 touchdown passes today. McCarron unloads it underneath to Brandon Gibson. Cut down inside the 20-yard line. And the Duke defensive back, Johnny Williams, the St. Stephen's, Alabama native, hurt on the play.
And Williams dropped his head down a little bit. It looks like he took a knee to the helmet. And he's not moving right now. That's not a good picture. That's the first thing they teach you in football. You keep your head up. And only bad things can happen if you drop it down. Here's Gibson. He's just running along, and you see Williams. He breaks down to make that tackle, and the head goes down. And that's when you get hurt. That's not a good thing to see.
We will take a break here in the fourth quarter at Duke with the Crimson Tide in front. (55-13) Alabama with the lead over Duke, and good news for Johnny Williams. He was able to get up, walk off the field. And that was just a moment ago, and back to the action. And the carry for Eddie Lacy for Alabama.
There's Johnny Williams. They're checking him out pretty good. I was telling you during that last break, I've been in that situation where I got knocked out cold on a play, and that's a scary feeling to wake up and wonder where you are down there. But thank goodness he did wake up, and he's over there on the sideline getting carried. for.
Early in this fourth quarter, the rush coming. Picked up Eddie Lacy down the far sideline, and the redshirt freshman run out of bounds. Pick up of 15 on the play for Alabama, and that'll set up a 1st and goal.
That's that same play we saw near the end of the half when Trent Richardson dropped that pass that would have been a touchdown, most likely. That wheel route by the back coming out of the backfield. It's a hard thing for a defense to recognize, and Lacy made the catch and got it down in there.
First and goal, McCarron. The give to Lacy, who fumbled inside the 5-yard line just a few moments ago. Takes it right up the middle to the 1.
I can assure you Lacy's going to hold on to that ball for all he's worth. Try and dispel that reputation he's getting for fumbling down there.
2nd and goal.
Had 2 of them already this season in only 3 games. I bet Coach Saban's going to give it to him, too, and try and rebuild that confidence.
Here's the lone setback with McCarron under center. They call Lacy's number, and he knifes his way through the left side for the touchdown. Eddie Lacy was hit with his 3rd TD of the year. 61-13 Bama.
Good block there by Anthony Steen, the right guard, leading the way, creating just enough of a seam for Lacy to dive through.
Cade Foster, the knuckleball is through. And the 62 points now, the most in nearly 20 years for Alabama. Ties Tulane's number that they put up on the green wave back in '91. This time it's Eddie Lacy for 6.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here. Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Back here in Durham, 62-13, Alabama looking impressive. The top-ranked team passing their first road test of the year so far. Ingram with 151 yards. Trent Richardson over 150 yards of total offense. Julio Jones over 100 receiving yards. Greg McElroy, 3 touchdown passes. And Bama has scored points on 9 of its 12 possessions today. Foster boots it away. Snead's going to bring it out of the end zone. Snead with a seam. Carries a defender with him out across the 30. Taken down by Justin Fowler. Well, this week on Monday Night Football, the defending Super Bowl champs take the field. It's Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints taking on Frank Gore and the 49ers. It all starts at 7 Eastern on ESPN with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's.
Niners were shocked week 1. Went up to Seattle and got it handed to him. In fact, Coach Singletary called a team meeting when they got back from that trip, and Coach Singletary doesn't mess around. No. But we're going to hear from him in a minute.
Didn't he thank Coach Pete Carroll
yes,
for
he did.
Kicking their behinds in week 1?
Let's hear from Coach Singletary.
I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. Cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot coach with them. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
That was a couple of years ago with the Vernon Davis incident, and Vernon turned his career around after that.
In fact, he just got a nice payday. He's the highest paid tight end in the National Football League right now, and I think he owes a lot of that to Coach Singletary for getting his mind right. There's another coach who can get your mind right.
Brandon Canet is now in at quarterback for Duke.
He's going to throw for a second.
Another run down the far sideline. Let's check into the studio right now with Robert Flores.
All right, Beth, number 10, Florida extending their lead over Tennessee in Knoxville. Trey Burton's short touchdown run. Gators have also just recovered a fumble. They lead 31-17, 5 minutes and change in the fourth quarter. Great game on ESPN2. Number 11, Wisconsin, up 1 on Arizona State late in the fourth.
Thank you, Robert. Canet with the carry again right up the middle.
Across the 50-yard line.
Wisconsin winning that game down a couple of receivers, and it looks like Arizona State's putting them to the test there.
Second and 6 for Duke. Opportunity for a lot of different guys to get into the ball game for Alabama. A flag behind the line of scrimmage.
Josh Sneed, the ball carrier. There is a flag on the field.
An illegal shift by the Duke Blue Devil offense. Negate that first down.
Illegal motion, offense number 9, back moving forward at the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Let's get an update now on the sideline from Jen Brown.
A quick injury update on Duke's cornerback Johnny Williams. He's still on the sideline sitting with the medical staff. He does look a little dazed. Duke's trainer has confirmed with me, though, that it is a head injury and that he will not be returning to the game. So they're going to be checking him out over there.
Thank you, Jen. Second and 10 now for Duke after the penalty. And Canet looking to throw. His first pass attempt, and it's a completion to Tony Foster. Caught at the 42-yard line. The tackle from B.J. Scott.
Coach Cutcliffe told us he's got a strong arm. He displayed it right there. Pumped it in there. A nice throw. And he said that Brandon Canet will challenge Sean Renfrey at every juncture. And interesting kid, Canet, one of 7 children, all of them homeschooled. And they found him and really like him.
Santiago High School in Corona, California. He enrolled early in January, so he was here for spring drills. Give to Desmond Scott around the right end.
Desmond Scott with the football.
Tackled by Nico Johnson. C.J. Mosley was also there.
It's one of those arrangements where your home school can go play for a local school and play sports for them, even though they're homeschooled, and that's where he played his football.
Josh Sneed is back in at tailback. 79 yards on the day for Josh. Remember that Alabama doesn't often give up 100 yards to an opposing running back.
Josh Sneed with the football.
It's been quite some time since they've done that.
36 games. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis back in October of 2007 for Ole Miss, the last guy to rush for 100. Sneed now with 83 on the day. But as we've heard Nick Saban talk about, it's not so much the statistics as the standard that they are trying to set and trying to play to at Alabama. That's enough for the first down for Duke, it looks like.
And this is the second defense, obviously, for Alabama right now, but that doesn't change anything in Nick Saban's mind. That standard still is out there, and they still expect those guys to play to that standard.
Check to the sideline. Kurt Roper is the offensive coordinator who works with the QBs. And is the guy that has established a good rapport with Sean Renfrey and Brandon Canet. Ball down. Canet scoops it up. A lot of white jerseys in hot pursuit. And he throws that one away. Our aerial coverage today brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV to find out how you can get 5 months free with DirecTV. Looking down on Wallace Wade Stadium here in Durham.
We had a lot of nice looks from that blimp today.
On 2nd down and 10 from the DirecTV blimp.
Let's watch this play from the blimp, see what we get.
Connect another dropped pass, incomplete to Corey Gaddis.
I like that blimp view. Have to get me one of those.
Good shot for the blimp can follow you around from game to game. Wide receivers, I think, are going to be doing a lot of pass catching drills this week.
They had that same issue last week, and it didn't get better this week, and that's something that Coach Cutcliffe is not going to tolerate.
Connect all down. Alex Watkins, the junior linebacker, on the stop.
Alex Watkins on the charge for Alabama.
Duke now moving backwards. Loss of 7 on the play.
And this is part of the maturation process, the growing process for the young quarterback, true freshman. And you know, you're going to take your lumps there for a while, even if it is against a backup second-string defense. It's still a pretty good defense. Some very talented players out there for Alabama, and they're playing hard. They've got a chance to get themselves on film, and they want to prove something, so they're going after it.
Haven't given up a touchdown here in the second half. In fact, no points for Duke since the intermission. A timeout on the field with 6:05 to go and a big Bama lead. The 4th down punt and into the end zone for the touchback. .5:43 to go in the ball game. Alabama will have the football when we return to Durham. (62-13) Alabama with the lead over Duke. And now let's take a look at today's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate.
Actually, this came week 1 against San Jose State. Julio Jones going up with the one hand, making the catch from McCarron. And that is your Good Hands play from Allstate.
Julio's made some nice plays today as well. 5 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown grab. One of the 3 today thrown from Greg McElroy. His 5th career 100-yard game, and the 2nd time in their careers that both Jones and Mark Ingram have over 100 yards. Ingram has rushed for 151 today. Fowler, the freshman, gets the carry. A productive day not only for Ingram, but also for Trent Richardson, who rushed for 61 yards, had a long kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah, I think when it's all said and done, Nick Saban's going to be pretty happy with the effort from his football team. He seemed a little upset at halftime when he was talking to Jen Brown down there, but I think that's manufactured in a lot of senses, and they'll look at this tape and they'll find something wrong, but they have to be pleased with the effort.
Well, I think he's going to like the fact that they have made what he was looking for, explosive plays, and there have been quite a few of them. In fact, 12 plays today of over 20 yards for Alabama.
And they got Ingram back, and he got his feet wet, was very successful, and he came out of this thing healthy. So Coach Saban keeps it rolling.
They'll get ready for Arkansas coming up next week. They were a winner on the road at Georgia today.
Things get tougher now for Alabama as they go forward, that's for sure.
They got to look at a pretty good young quarterback today in Sean Renfrey. They'll get a look at a really good older quarterback in Ryan Mallett next week. He had the game-winning touchdown pass today with just 15 ticks on the clock. Running between the hedges. I think that was his first road SEC win of his career, in his Arkansas career. Other scores from around the Southeastern Conference. Ooh, Vandy taking down Ole Miss.
Florida doing business to Tennessee. And a bunch of them coming up later tonight.
Good one between the Tigers down on the Plains and LSU trying to make it 11 straight over Mississippi State tonight down in Baton Rouge.
And Alabama's now eclipsed the 600-yard mark in total offense.
Flag on the play as Fowler gets out close to midfield.
With the football. There's a flag on the field.
Shot block, offense, 61. 15-yard penalty for the spot of the clock. Still first down.
And that rule is if a player is engaged with another player, then you cannot block them low. If it's just you and another guy, you can go ahead and chop. You can cut them down low. But you can't have a guy posted up on another offensive player and then you come in and chop them low, second guy in. They're not going to let you do that. Another player safety issue.
For Duke, meanwhile, they'll take a week off from the ACC again next week. They've got Army, and then at Maryland, October 2nd coming up as they'll get into the heart of their ACC schedule. Fowler's bottled up. Here are our Pacific Life game summary. Stats for today. Look at the total yards for Bama, and then 10 yards per play today.
It's not too bad when you average a first down on every snap. You can live with that.
Good balance of pass yards and rush yards. That'll put a smile on McElroy's face as he continues his quest. Heard him on one of the local radio stations here in the Triangle area earlier this week. Said the only thing better than winning a championship is getting a chance to do it again. And they have that opportunity. Nice burst from Fowler right up the middle.
And Fowler getting a chance to show some things. Getting the shoulders square and blasting upfield.
McElroy, by the way, now will improve to 17-0 as a starter at Alabama.
That's amazing. You know, and you go back to his high school career, he was undefeated as a high school quarterback. I believe it's up to what,
33?
33-0 now. That guy don't know how to lose. It's going to come as a shock to his system if he ever does, I'll tell you that.
Last loss, I think he was 13 years old in the 8th grade.
Guy remembers it very well.
Fowler short of the first down on 3rd down. One of the things he did talk about, though, is how the difficulty of the first couple of years that he was here has really steeled him and helped lay the foundation for the success that Greg McElroy and Mark Ingram and those guys have had. You know, they had a couple of rough seasons the first couple of years he was here, and has since really turned it around. And how those negative experiences can sometimes pave the way for the success makes you appreciate it even more.
No doubt about it. I mean, that's when something really has value and you can appreciate it. When you've gone through the tough times, it makes them good times even that much better.
Cody Mandel will punt it away. Butler's going to let that one drift into the end zone for the touchback. Final minute here at Duke. Alabama putting the finishing touches on a 3-0 start. (62-13) Alabama, closing in on a 3-0 starter in the final minute at Duke. And with 6 Emmys, including TV's Best Comedy, it's no wonder the return of Modern Family is the most anticipated event of the season. ABC's Modern Family, The Return, Wednesday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, part of Red Carpet Premiere Week on ABC. An explosive Alabama offense, the big story today with the returns of Mark Ingram, as well as defensive stalwart Marcel Darius, and the Crimson Tide are complete and looking every bit the #1 team in the country.
Well, they really did. And those guys that returned made an impact immediately. Marcel Darius with a big tackle for a loss early in the game, and then of course Mark Ingram had a Heisman-type performance today. Just 9 carries, but busted out for 51 yards. That's pretty good. A couple of touchdowns. What you might expect.
We'll get ready to take on Arkansas next week. Duke will have Army. And the final play of the game this afternoon at Wallace Wade Stadium. Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide victorious in their first road trip of the year, and they extend their FBS longest win streak in the country to 17 in a row. The SEC record is Bama's set back in '93 with 28 straight. Our final score, Alabama 62, Duke 13. Tonight on ABC, join us for Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, Texas, Texas Tech, or Notre Dame, Michigan State. Saturday Night Football at 8 Eastern right here on ABC. For Ray Bentley and Jen Brown, I'm Beth Mowens. Good evening from Durham, North Carolina. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Most legal dramas end with a verdict. But one new series goes beyond that to uncover the whole truth. ABC premiere Wednesday at 10/9 Central. The defense will argue.
Reasonable doubt.
The prosecution will allege.
Our theory is the truth.
The verdict will be determined.
We find the defendant.
But was the jury right? Only you will find out.
Did you know something I didn't?
ABC's The Whole Truth. Series premiere Wednesday at 10/9 Central. Part of Red Carpet Premiere Week on ABC.
This is a tough game, and it's hard to be good at it.
Guys are running into each other as hard as they possibly can, legally.
It takes a tremendous amount of discipline. It takes a tremendous amount of perseverance.
Pushing yourself to the limit every day to be the best at what you do.
It means don't quit. Finish the drill.
To be a great competitor, you have to be able to overcome adversity.
For you to win at this level, it takes an absolute commitment to excellence.
You have the physical and emotional ability to overcome a difficult circumstance.
Guys, they can endure pain and play through the times where they're beat up.
There's going to be times when things don't go your way. And are you going to fold up like a tent, or are you going to fight? And the guys that'll fight, they're the ones who win.
On the field, every coach has his own definition of toughness, but when it comes to their truck, they all agree. Ford F-150 is the toughest truck in the game. Now get 0% financing for 60 months or up to $8,500 in total savings.
War Eagle, go Dogs!
Roll Tide.
Athens State University is the oldest institution of higher education in the state of Alabama.
It's a place with a deep and wonderful heritage, and it progressed into the future. It was always meeting the challenges of today's society.
There's a long history and great foundation.